3, 2, 1. How's it going, everybody? Today is September 1st. Woo, the summer went by fast. Today is September 1st, which officially means that summer is over. So those very small homeless people that have been just ruining your house all summer and driving you up the wall will be going back to their keepers this week, aka school. Which, if you're a parent, this is the closest thing to a pre-Christmas you can get. So that's awesome. Unfortunately, we're going to start off this weekend review for this week, which is, like I said, to September 1st. So, unfortunately, over yesterday, for those of you who don't know, there was yet again another mass shooting. This one took place in West Texas, in what's called the Twin Cities of Odessa. And, hold on, just had the name up here. I apologize. Bear with me. Odessa. It took place in Odessa, but they're basically the Twin Cities. Odessa and Midland. I apologize. So Odessa and Midland. We want to definitely give prayers out to the families of the now 8 victims. Yesterday was reported as 7, with 1 who was in critical condition, but they have unfortunately passed away. There were a few cops that were killed. Basically, it was a routine traffic stop, that resulted in a shootout and resulted in the person who was getting pulled over shooting at several people and killing 8. A few of them were officers. So I just wanted to stop first before we talk about anything, silly, as far as comic book stuff and other nonsense. That this is once again another tragedy that I feel like probably could have been avoided, but I hate to say these things happen because they shouldn't. Let's just put it, call it what it is. These things shouldn't still be happening. They definitely should just be fluke incidents that happen, like a meteor shower, Orion's, like a meteor. I want to say Orion's meteor. That should happen. It's Orion's belt. Halley's Comet. I'm sorry. Something like Halley's Comet that happens, maybe once in a lifetime, if then. But unfortunately, that is the world we live in. But definitely want to send my prayers out to the families of the victims, the cops. I have several police officers in my family, and I couldn't imagine, getting the news that they got killed because someone, for whatever reason, just decided that was their day to go off. But definitely, sending my prayers out to them, and hopefully, we get this stuff nipped in the bud, because it's one of those issues. I'm not going to preach to you today. Hopefully one of those, I know it's Sunday. I'm not going to preach to you today. But this is one of those issues where I feel like we can definitely avoid it. We can all get together for nonsense, and we can all get together and show, support for nonsense. But when it's something that involves all of us, such as the Amazon rainforest fire and this, it's just still issues we need to just sit down and turn our phone, get off the computers for a second. And we definitely need to have an open discussion about gun laws and how do we stop this? Because it's getting to the point now where it's just ridiculous. Like, you literally don't want to leave the house, and you shouldn't feel like that. Whenever you see somebody, we shouldn't look at our neighbors with suspicious eyes like that. That's not how the world was meant to work. That's not how it should work. And I can't say enough about it. I'm definitely going to have a more in-depth conversation about this when I do some more research on the topic. But it's a sad do. We're going to pivot slightly to a more, like I said, a more silly topic, just to, ease some of the, let's just have a couple laughs and get through it. So like I said, this is the weekend review. So basically every week I'm going to try my best. Well, actually I'm going to do it, because if I could give a job 110%, I owe my dream at least 220. So I'm definitely going to have something available every Sunday as far as the weekend review goes. It's going to be titled Weekend Review, pun intended. So we're going to pivot slightly. While I was working out earlier, something came through on my phone that Marvel and Sony were back in talks over Spider-Man. So I know we went from talking about a mass shooting, was it serious, to talking about, 2 billionaire companies arguing over more money. But it's important to me, so what else? I really hope they do get back to the table, because like I said before in the podcast earlier this week, check it out on YouTube, aboogie83.com, aboogie83, also abhinkmedia.com. Check them out. I talked about in the last episode about how just over the moon I am with Tom Holland and Spider-Man. So the new deal is Disney does in fact want 50%. I would assume off the opening gross, I don't think they'd be crazy enough to want the whole 50% from the whole, as I call it, the whole bitch. But we'll see. But they definitely going back to the table this week, which I figured somebody was going to, because Sony's been getting too much backlash. Disney is going to be okay, but I definitely feel like Sony was getting a lot of backlash from it, because they did seem like, and in my opinion, were the instigators of the fallout. So now Sony is willing, quote unquote, to sit down and talk if Disney is willing to let them use Tom Holland's Spider-Man live action in their different Spider-Verse movies. So like Kraven the Hunter, they're working on a movie for him. Which I don't know how you would do a Kraven the Hunter movie without Spider-Man. It's not like the Joker where you could do a movie, and we'll get to that next. It's not like the Joker where you could do a movie that's strictly about him without Batman and it's still good. With Kraven, I would think, and Morbius, they're doing a Marco Morbius movie as well. I would have liked to have seen, and I hope they can come to the table for this one, as an introduction for Blade, I would love to see it be a co-movie where they have Spider-Man and Blade taking on Michael Morbius, because that's how it was in the cartoon, which is a great episode of the cartoon. You had Blade and Spider-Man team up to try to stop and help Michael Morbius. Blade was there to hunt him. Spider-Man knew him when he was normal, so he was trying to, stop him from killing him. But that would be a great movie, I feel like. But they're getting back to the table. They're going to talk about it. They want to use Spider-Man in the Venom verse and in the Michael Morbius movie and Kraven's Last Hunt, which the comic book was called Kraven's Last Hunt, which is a great comic book where Spider-Man was fighting Kraven almost to the death. But I love to see it. I like Kraven the Hunter. He's a very good Spider-Man villain. I would love to see that movie. And if you could incorporate that somehow into the Spider-Verse without it being separate, that would be even better. I think if I was Disney, I would take 40% and just have it in writing that they won't separate the universes, because that would just be too messy at that point. I feel like it would take people out of it. So that's that. I mean, that's let's hope. Let's gather together there, my fellow nerds, and hope that they work this out. Let's hope that mom and dad start getting along, because I couldn't take this divorce. So the next one is a new segment I want to try called, for those of you who don't know, aside from doing blogs and doing, my own website, working on that stuff, and, starting this media company up, during the day what pays the bills is I work for a security company who shall remain nameless at a site that shall remain nameless. It's a mall, and I'll leave it at that. So I basically do dispatch work, which means I have the most craziest job there, where I have to literally sit and watch people shop all day, and I watch people. People are at their most amusing to me when they don't realize they're being watched. That sounds creepy, but that's it's funny. So you see stuff that people didn't think you caught, but because I'm in dispatch, I see it all on camera. So this week's security story is the two horny teens. We'll call it that. That's going to be the name of the story. Two horny teens. So we get a report. I get a phone call yesterday from this place inside the mall that's like I want to say like a bootleg Chuck E. Cheese almost, or a bootleg Major Magics. Like if Major Magics and Showbiz is a bootleg version of Chuck E. Cheese, then this is a bootleg version of that. So everything is slightly off. It's like the big K-Cola of children's fun centers, or whatever, if you want to call them. So basically, I get a phone call from them. The customer came to them because, they're security, and lets them know that she was just in a women's bathroom and two teens were having sexual intercourse, her words. So we send the officer over, and sure enough, there's a condom on the floor. So I rewind the film back, and you see the two teens walk into the women's room together, see them walk out together, and they go to H&M to go shop. Like, they carried on about their business like no one knew or no one saw, because the hallway is pretty packed with people. That particular corridor is pretty packed with people. So they saw them come out together. So I guess they thought that no one saw them, come out together. So that was kind of funny. That tickled me a little bit. So we catch up with the kid. One of the floor officers catches up with the young guy and lets him know, hey, we got a report that you were in the bathroom doing inappropriate stuff. You got to go. So he knew automatically. He was like, yep, you called me. I kind of like when people fight back like we don't know it, like there aren't cameras, so like we don't see them. But I really enjoy when somebody's like, the old swiper, no swiping routine where, you got me. Like, this, for those who don't know, Dora the Explorer had a bag on there named Swiper, who would steal their stuff. But if you see a swiper no swiping 3 times, he would stop what he was doing. Which, don't you wish all thieves worked that way? So I like when a situation like that where like, oh, you got me, officer. Shucks. And then he leaves. And it was, it was funny to me. But, so that's the security story of the week. Next topic, real quick. I'm going to try to make this a 15-minute review. Of course, for editing purposes, because your boy is lazy. So, the Joker movie. Apparently, over the weekend, the Joker movie was seen by test audiences for like critics and bloggers who have far more clout than yours truly. I would have loved to have been invited. Hopefully one day, fingers crossed, I will be one of those that gets invited to these events. Excuse me, I'm extremely just getting over a cold, so I'm trying to speak eloquently and drink water at the same time, but it's not working. Excuse me. So they got to see the Joker movie ahead of time, which is awesome. So they're saying that they're giving it a 10. IGN gave it a 10. IGN reportedly is saying that this is going to be one of the best DC movies ever made. And it's not a true comic book movie. It's a comic book movie in the sense that the Joker came from a comic book. But it's more so a movie that's a metaphor or an examination of the world we live in today, where, excuse me, the state of mental illness, how it's driving normal people who will be regularly normal insane. From what I'm hearing, you definitely feel for the character when he's Arthur Flick, which is his name when he's not the Joker. When he's Arthur Flick, they said Joaquin Phoenix plays the role in such a way that you feel bad for him. And as he becomes the Joker, you see him become more confident, which you see in the trailer. In the trailer, you see him as like a downtrodden loser. But as he becomes the Joker and embraces his madness, it's his freedom that comes with his insanity. And I thought that was brilliant in the trailer. The first trailer illustrated that perfectly, to where you see him as a downtrodden loser who morphs into this, charismatic, confident guy. Yes, he's a psychotic maniac, but he definitely found a peace in his madness. And to me, that's extremely deep, and I cannot wait to see it. I don't even want to look at too much stuff on it, because I can't wait to see it. As I stated earlier, you can check out a lot of these videos, promotional work, just a lot of questions, Q&A stuff, different topics, what have you, on our new website, which is abhinkmedia.com. Abhink, which is a Latin phrase for from here on. I thought that was extremely deep when I saw it, so I immediately went and bought the domain name for it. But check us out, like I said, at Abhink Media. If I keep making a swallow noise or it's pausing my speech, because like I said, I'm still getting over a cold, but I want to get this done. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So like I said, Abhink Media, check us out. We are on Facebook as well. Abhink Media is on our Facebook page. Abhink Media is also our Instagram page, which I believe is just Abhink Media, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I chose. And it is. It's ab_Hink Media is our Instagram page. So check us out on there too. So real quick, I want to discuss with you a little bit of controversy going on with the Dave Chappelle special. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's brilliant, in a word. I watched it 3 times now just to make sure I wasn't being a victim in a moment. I talked about it before, but I thought it'd be discussing it further. He's bringing comedy back as far as like stand-up comedy. If you're a fan of true, like straight up old school stand-up comedy, you'll love this. And what I mean when I say that is he's not the safe comic. He's not the Kevin Hart's of the world or the Mike Epps. He's not the streamlined, just straight down the middle, safe comics. He's daring. He talks about stuff. A true comic is supposed to hold up a mirror to society and say, this is what's going on, and crack jokes about it, but inform at the same time. A true comic should be like a very good episode of Sesame Street. He should entertain you and educate you at the same time. You should leave that show feeling different and thinking slightly different about stuff, but having a good time. And I feel like he did that in his special. People were complaining that he was, digging too much into the, we call it the alphabet community, which is the LGBTQ community. But I felt like it was brilliant. His metaphor for it was brilliant. He said that each letter was its own movement, but they were all trying to get to the same place. So picture a group of people driving in a car. That's what the metaphor he used was. So you have to get the gays driving the car. You got the lesbians who were the passenger. He said the back seat you had the bis and the transgenders. So he said that each person was their own movement, but they were all trying to get the same place, which is equality, which is being able to be who you want to be without being, I don't want to say judged, because you can do anything in life and be judged. You can do something positive and still be judged. People are going to judge you regardless. But I think they want to just be accepted as who they are on a grand scale without people treating them any differently than they would treat anybody else. Which I feel like if that's how you choose to do your life, that's you've earned that right as a tax-paying U.S. citizen to be able to live a life that you want to live without fear of being violent, people being violent against you and stuff like that. Because people are going to say what they want to say. Hetero people say stuff about hetero people all the time. People are going to say what they want to say about you, but you shouldn't have to be in fear of being discriminated against or having violence against you. So from that standpoint, salute. But I definitely feel like the stuff he spoke on was topical, like it usually is with Dave Chappelle. And if you weren't a fan of this stand-up special, I feel like you were just one of those fair weather fans that he got from the second season of Chappelle Show. By that I mean people who were there from the first season, who were aware of Dave Chappelle's body of work, knew what they were getting into. One of his first sketches was Clayton Bigsby, who was a black-white supremacist. So that's exact. That was the start-off point. I feel like he got a lot of fair weather fans with his Rick James sketch, and that's what put him into the mainstream of comedy. And I think that's where the downfall came. Even he'll admit that's where the downfall came, because now everybody wants to just see Rick James. They don't want to hear the Clayton Bigsby stuff or the other brilliant stuff he would do on that show. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, check it out for yourself, judge it for yourself. I'm going to wrap this up. This has been the Weekend Review. Like I said, go to our website, abhinkmedia.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Again, if you're coming in negativity, I will clap back at you. I have no issue getting down to dirt. So that's just a fair warning on that one. But definitely check out that's your Dave Chappelle special. It's pretty funny. I enjoy it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And peace and love. You guys take care of yourselves.
Oh, baby, you are so talented, and they are so dumb.